Welcome to season 2 of your True Awakening podcast. I am Sandra Tru for over a decade, nearly a decade now. I've guided visionaries, leaders, founders, and creatives through the inner work of transformation, helping them reconnect with their truth, creativity, and aliveness. And this season is about one thing, moving from awareness into embodiment, because insight isn't the problem. Most people already know what's true, they're just not living it. Each week, we go deeper into the patterns, the nervous system, the truth beneath the surface, and what it actually takes to create a life that feels like you. And today, I'm super excited because my guest is my friend Franko Heke. And Franco is a musician, a cultural facilitator, a curator of the Luminary Summit, whose work beautifully bridges music, culture, ceremony, and human connection. Drawing from his Māori and Italian roots, he has created what he calls the future of mantra sound, a blend of indigenous song, mantra, haka, reggae, and healing house music that invites people into remembrance. What I love about Franco is that he isn't just creating music, he's creating experiences that help people reconnect with their voice, their power, and each other. So, it's completely down my alley. And I'm super excited to have this conversation with him because we are very into initiation and integration. And what does that really mean to be fully initiated into our lives and to the next evolution of who we are becoming? How are you, Franco? Thank you so much for being here.
Kia ora. It's so beautiful to be here, Sandra. Thank you for having me.
Yay, I love it. I'm so happy
Yeah.
that we made it work.
We did.
I
Hello
want to
from
get to
Croatia.
hello from Croatia. He's like, every time I speak to him, he's like in a different part of the world.
Yeah, we're flying out here.
Tell me a little bit before we get into it. Who are you? Who are you before the
Mm,
music, or who were you before this evolution of you? Give us a little bit of background.
yes. Yeah. So Franko Heke, I'm from Aotearoa, New Zealand. Aotearoa is the indigenous word for New Zealand. So right down the bottom of the earth, 5 million people, not very big, and I'm part Māori, so I'm indigenous to New Zealand on my father's side, and there's only 1 million Māori people in the world, and I am Swiss Italian on my mother's side. I have grown up in a beautiful, beautiful country, but it's a country that is, like I said, very small, and we have to really travel far away places to experience the world. Yeah, big initiation happens very, very quickly when you travel out of New Zealand. I love music. I'm a father of two beautiful daughters, Maisie and Amala. And, I lived a life of not looking after myself, irresponsible rock and roll, muso, staying up late, playing bars and clubs and smoking and drinking and rebelling against anything that was mainstream. And I got to a point where I was like, wow, I need there's a better life. There's more to life than what I'm scratching right now. And
Mhm.
I tried meditation once, and I tried mantra and yoga, and I knew no one that did any of these practices that was so healing and presence giving. And I never looked back. I just had to become a teacher of all of those, share those with my people, and like you opened the podcast, constantly in initiation. There's no
Mhm.
end level. There's no place to get to. It's just like, wow, life is happening and I'm here for it. But perspective of life has really changed.
Yeah, to be able to say yes to life. And it's like, yes, life. Okay,
Whatever life's doing. Yeah.
whatever life's doing. I have been falling in love with the exploration and the practice of no resistance, no insistence. It is like what happens
Yeah.
when I'm not in defense mode, which is so much of like how I was brought up to be in
Yes.
defense mode, or how culture has shaped us to be, which is in push mode. What happens if I am in like that experience of being in what we were saying before the podcast, right? Magic. To be in magic, I feel like it's just the practice of aligning ourselves to our values, to
Mm,
our priorities, to like what's important to us, and
yeah.
that honestly bring some initiations when we are stepping into a truer and truer experience of who we are. We know that's there, we know who's there. It will bring out new initiations, like little tests to give us the merit, the experience of really owning who we know ourselves to be. And so
Totally.
have you
Totally.
went
Yeah.
go ahead,
And if we
share.
bring it back, if we bring it back to, I guess, how a lot of us were, so I think all of us were born into this kind of industrialized world where so much like marketing and educational systems, so much was in place and locked in. So there's so many ideas that were just so given to us, and there was almost no time or no curiosity to think, well, for ourselves, to think for ourselves and think, wait a sec, is this right for me? So we kind
Mhm.
of get born into this space where we easily forget who we really are because we are we're seeing all this advertising and this education that's given to us, so we're losing ourselves bit by bit. And then when you have the courage or the insight or the what do you call it, I mean, yeah, the initiation in your life to have a breakdown and break apart, it's very disruptive. It's very disruptive at a point. And you know, when you find who you truly are and then have the courage to be who you truly are, sometimes you can lose your home, you can lose the people you knew, you can you lose relationships, everything just busts apart, which is it's disruptive. It's a lot, you know, and it's not bad. It is just we sometimes travel so far away from our center, from who we truly are, and it's no one's
Mhm.
fault. It's just like this is the way the world is
Mhm.
capsulated right now, you know?
Yeah, it's almost like there is, whew, like there is a cost to pay for being authentic and for being in our artists, right? And when I mean artists, it's not just for people who are creating music or art, but like to be in creatorhood, to be in a space of
Mm,
choice and sovereignty that is me taking the power of my attention and my awareness and no longer letting the system or the familiar system or whatever it is to be able to own our attention and choose where it goes. That can make people
mm,
around us very uncomfortable because we change, and some people think that change is we are no longer caring or no longer present, and sometimes that's because we're no longer people pleasing and we're no longer abandoning ourselves, and so that sometimes comes with a cost, that when we take that attention inwards and we decide to do the thing that we can no longer hide ourselves from doing, that will make things, and that has been very challenging at times and
mm,
extremely rewarding with time. It's like
definitely.
extremely rewarding with time. I was just sharing with Franco that I was in New York, and the art industry, the acting industry, everybody's so like, you got to be an actor and you got to be, and all your life goes into just like, doing the practice, and there is, it's very rigid, and it felt
Mm,
like going back to a small world. But one of
mm,
the reasons why I left was because I didn't want to continue to feed stories that didn't add to the human expansion, the possibility of human expansion, and that are mirroring the beauty of the human spirit. It's like I don't want to keep going out for commercials or for telling stories that are not, that are going in circles. Like I want to tell
mm.
good stories, and it
Mm,
doesn't
they're not your
align with
stories. They're
those
not
are,
even your
yeah.
stories, right? They're not your stories. And this is how, as well, we've been trained to receive and consume so
Hmm.
much that so many of us have forgotten that we are the artists, we are the musicians, we are the therapists. Like we're all of it inside of ourselves. But there's been so much driven upon us that has a lot of us made us small. The very few human beings really break through that barrier of mass marketing to become the entertainer or the person
Hmm.
that really shines, the person that
Hmm.
people show up to with a ticket.
Hmm. Yeah.
It reminds me of I was thinking the other day about how in the womb, right, we are yogis. We're the most flexible little beings, right, that we've ever probably been.
Hmm.
And then we come out and we stop doing yoga. And we get tighter and tighter and tighter. Our body gets tighter, our mind gets sort of like a little bit more rigid, and we get a bit more pessimistic, and all we need to do is just sort of keep being babies, keep being flexible, keep being curious. And I think righteousness and thinking that thinking that you're right is such a block and such the end of the conversation, because I truly believe I don't know anything at all. I'm
Mhm.
a I'm everything. I'm a fucking mess. I am a beautiful bright light. I'm dark. I'm mysterious. I'm just light. I'm exactly like you and like
Mhm.
everything.
And so
You
is
know, let's
everybody
play.
else. Yeah, and so
Let's
like the
play.
yeah. And you're speaking about how we see that so much, the freedom in a child and the freedom in young adults, how we're constantly allowing ourselves to do new things and like being that state of newness and of freshness. And the more that as we start to develop in our logic brain, that is pattern making gets, the neocortex develops around when we're 25, we get rigid. Now we're really rigid because again, and so much of I believe the work is to create good structure and find fluidity, find like flow and in allowing
Mm,
ourselves to be in that level of freshness that brings new energy in. And that level of freshness are the qualities that live inside of presence, joy,
yes.
right? Compassion, curiosity, awe, exaltedness. Like, where can you have that if it's not inside of presence? Like, you can't have it. And the whole
That's it.
conditioning of the world, which is mass sleepiness, or mass
Mhm.
marketing, and you're agreeing into these fixed mindsets without questioning, like all of that, what's happening is that they are almost like farming attention, and when I mean
They are.
when I mean they, I also mean us, like the
Exactly,
the
exactly. I was about to say
system
that too.
is built to farm your attention, and
Yeah.
it's almost like an impossibility to live authentically unless you take your attention back and choose where you're going to funnel it, because our attention is like sunshine, like where you're
Mm,
looking at it, it's what you're letting grow. Or if you want to speak physics, like letting things be particle states. Wave state means like all possibilities, but the moment that you put your awareness in it, you start to make things happen because you're looking for them.
mm,
But most of us are looking for the thing that they're telling us to fear. We're looking
mhm.
for the things that are not working. We're looking for how to solve war through, the war on terrorism. That's war on war, like, and so
Yeah.
so much of that, like it really is about self-initiation, essentially, which is what we're getting into, is like, how do I become the the director of my
Yes.
attention at will, so that I can use it to serve whatever is trying to move through me, not trying to become, like, not forcing something that I'm being told to be from the outside, but to be able to have enough presence, enough here-ness to guide that guard part of us
Mm.
towards what wants to be created, right? And so,
Exactly, exactly. So well said. I mean, we have a word called mana in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and mana means power, and it's
our life
right
force,
now
right?
more than life force. More than
Yeah.
ever right now, we need to take our life force back, our power and our
Hmm.
attention back, because where we focus, like you say, is what we vote for. This
Hmm.
is why always bring up this sort of example of Donald Trump and everyone complaining about Donald Trump and da 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 da. Every time you complain about something or someone, you vote for them.
Yeah.
You
Or
literally
anytime
vote
you're
to
speaking
have
bad about your friend, you know?
exactly. Whatever it is what grows. It really is. And so we need to watch our words. And that takes a lot, that takes some time, some trial and error these days, because also we're not really connected like we used to be to our elders who would teach us these things earlier than we
Uh-huh.
have to learn them now. Yeah, we have to learn by a lot of mistakes right now because we're so detached from grandma, great granddad, and everything, all that wisdom
And the
because
roots.
our attention because our attention is now on making money to make enough money to buy the things that are actually free. Should be like literally the air, the waters, the earth, the food growing out of the grounds. We've been so sidetracked, and we need to take our power back. It's time. It's time to rise. This is the rise of the warrior.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting because so much of our trying to get there is taking out of being here. And it's almost like we're
Yeah.
borrowing life from tomorrow, and and that becomes a pattern. If I'm always trying to chase, I'm skipping today and I'm not getting to
Yeah.
tomorrow because I can only live today. But
Yeah.
if I'm in that hustle culture that has been so celebrated, then I'm
Yeah.
actually not stealing my moment. I'm stealing my today. And that's not to say like money's bad or we should not be experiencing and expressing and becoming prosperous
Mm.
in all ways, meaning in our connection to humans, in our connection to our food supply, in our connection to relationships, in our connection to our joy, to like our mana, or what I call like to find ourselves in a state of pure aliveness, of health. And so
Yes.
when we do that, then we're no longer being cattle, which is like it's not that there's the way that I see it, right? I could be this is my imagination. I don't think there's actually one being up on the top saying like, "Mwah, ha, ha, I'm gonna make
Yeah.
them cattle." Mwah, mwah, mwah. No, it's a system, and I believe the system is actually the gift because it is thanks
Mm.
to the system that we can have the choice of awakening, right? So it's thanks to the
We had to do something. We had to come
we
here to do
it's
something.
we can call the system good or bad, but we can go into and we go it's very easy to go into the dualistic way of seeing things versus
Mm.
like in the Native Americans have a word for that collective shadow, like it's called Wetiko, right? And that Wetiko force is like what puts us to sleep and lets other people's to essentially harvest work with our energy, right? It's like
Yeah.
we are agreeing to everything they're saying, therefore we become the the promoters of that energy because we are allowing, we are just
Mm.
obeying to it. Like we see that a lot happening to fixed mindset, right? Religions, anything that has a lot of dogma, anything that's not open to questioning, and so people go into this self promotion of that energy that is the collective
Mm.
sleepiness. And if we're like in that collective sleeping as thinking that we don't have time to go inward to meditate, right? Something that was, by the way, illegal at some point, and it was shamed upon and frowned upon for so long, or like sexuality, like sacred sexuality,
Mm.
or ecstatic dancing, or the medicine, whatever it is, right? It's like
Mhm.
whatever was connecting us to God that gave us space to to
Mm.
expand our choice has
Yeah.
been the enemy to that system. But it's actually thanks to that system. Like when we see that that is happening at a cultural and a personal level in the psyche, the teachings are that if you're able to look at it, you become invisible to it.
Mm.
If you're
Mm.
able to see it, you now become invisible to it. So think about the power of that it's thanks to its existence that we have our that it's essentially helping us grow into
Mhm.
greater, and I want to say like divine beings or anything else, but a greater humans, because being a
Yeah.
human is
And just
freaking amazing.
stronger, contrast. It's contrast, right? We were just speaking
Mhm,
before about darkness as a container for the light. We need mirrors. We need
mhm,
the pendulum swinging to understand the distance between things and, what things are. And humans are such label making, creating story machines, right? We like to
mhm.
label everything good and bad and then we believe ourselves so much, which takes us sometimes so far out of presence and into that belief that we know something, and then
Mhm,
we're not here. And when we're here, that's where the magic is. Like, it's unbelievable how much magic is happening in every single moment. Every pixel of my eyeballs looking out into the world is a magical universe,
uh-huh.
and all we need to do is truly, truly be
Like
present
let
to
go.
that. Let let go and expand ourselves. When, like you were saying before, in a way, we've been trained to receive and yeah, and basically forget our power and think that everyone knows everything, and we're just gonna learn from everybody else. But really, everything is right here. All the lessons are right here, and there's so much wonder in that. And I'm just constantly in awe of life by just
And
observing life. And whenever I get rattled out of presence and maybe get into fear state or worry state, which happens for sure, that's the contrast. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. So if I didn't have that fear or that disruption, I wouldn't know the miracle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like
So
that
thank
that
you. Thank you for the lessons.
yeah, thank you for the lessons. My
The
God.
blessings. Thank you for the
Or like
blessings.
sometimes I'm speaking to clients or doing or opening layers within my own psyche where there has been shame or a denial of something I didn't want to look at, and I'm working with clients and they're speaking about the bad things in them. It's actually thanks to those parts of us that were just simply not mature enough. They didn't have good development that we can be now. That we can see, like,
Yeah.
thanks to the younger parts of myself, that for doing all those things because I don't have to do them now, right? So it's like
Yeah.
the first step to consciousness is our unconsciousness. And we are not victims
Mm,
of our unconsciousness, by the way, which a lot of people speak about it like it's the bad thing in us or the darkness or the feminine side in us, right?
mm.
Funny how we
It's
we
holding us. It's holding us
yeah.
without needing to think about it. What a
But
beautiful thing.
yeah, the unconsciousness is also a place that we can garden all the seeds that we want to see grow, right? Like talk about
Mm,
initiate, like if I am in the practice of a new level of identity. You were telling me you're in Croatia and you're in this new becoming and creating this amazing festival, right? The luminaries, and how everybody's stepping into this whole new level of embodiment. And it's like
yeah.
it's the practice of showing up, then the consistent practice of doing something that makes it habitual, right? Like we are not victims of our habits. We
Mm,
can create habits that help us be in the new becoming that we are deciding to express. And yeah, and in
for
that same
sure.
way, it's like we can, I like to speak about habits as like healthy addictions. And sometimes those habits are not what we prefer, and we can choose to do different ones. Like we are at will. And I think to the artist, the path of the artist or the path of someone that gives themselves the capacity to harness their own attention is that we through choice we can start to create new patterns of being, new healthy addictions, transforms the ones we don't like scrolling until 3 a.m. on social media, call texting the ex that you didn't want, that is not good for you, whatever that is, eating the chocolate thing that I don't know why you keep buying, like, whatever that is like that is, it's been sold to you. It's giving you validation from something in your past or something.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, and there's a lot to be said for the uncomfortable. We've been sold this idea of comfort, comfort, comfort. And what that's done is really created a very weak race of people physically and mentally and spiritually. And the universe doesn't have that for very long. It kicks
Mm,
your ass sometimes and puts you into gym as a metaphor for having to do some heavy lifting, having to get out of a issue, having to grow. And it's good to look for that. It's good to look for that discomfort. And that could just look like joining a new community or reading a different kind of book, going out on that date that you sort of wouldn't normally go on, just pushing yourself a little bit outside of that comfort zone, because that's where the gym is. That's where you work out. That's where you get that muscle, and that's where you get
yeah.
those new experiences. And like you said, yeah, I'm going through this gym right now with the Luminary Summit here with the team in Croatia. We're creating this incredible gathering of thought leaders and very inspiring speakers, musicians from all over the world. And it's called Luminaries, right? And we're like, God is like, okay, so you're gonna have to become a luminary. You called that in, so you're gonna have to become a luminary in order to host Luminaries. And it's kicking my ass like so much, and it's so uncomfortable because I could have just cruised through life, doing pretty good, and playing music around the world and hosting cacao ceremonies and all this kind of thing. And I've gotten to a beautiful level where, I want to live, which is a great thing, which I didn't want to do 15 years ago. And I'm not playing in bars and sweaty nightclubs anymore. I'm in
Mhm.
healthy environments. I'm looking after myself. I could coast on that. But no, I'm co-hosting the Luminary Summit now, and that means that I need to burn more away that is not me and send it you know, and brighten up even more, really become and birth myself. And it's so confronting and so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable and it's so beautiful.
My God. Yeah, it's making me think about how several years ago, the things we choose, please be gentle with what you choose because I made this request to life. Unconditional trust. I want to embody unconditional trust. And so
Mm.
me, I'm thinking it's gonna be given to me. It's gonna
Just
be
words. They're just
I'm
words.
just gonna get unconditional trust. I'm gonna ask for unconditional trust and I'm just gonna get it. It's gonna be great, you know? Like I'm so good at receiving.
Oh my
Well,
god.
what happens
Mm.
is like if you consider God to be like the ultimate father, mother perfection, it's not gonna just give it to you because then you have no merit for it. It's gonna give you opportunities for you to train yourself, for you to become that. And so my life has been wow. It's so confronting, as you said, like
Yeah.
so many layers of
Oof.
seeing how many things I didn't trust. Like at a point, I was weeping out of recognizing that I had zero trust, being
Mm.
someone that has been in the path of devotion, being that I have felt in the depth of my heart that my biggest connection was with God, facing the fact that I didn't trust the masculine face of creation. Just like, like just wow. And like I have and like oh my God, like just feeling that and I was in prayer and just having to face that like oh my God and having to become aware of how I've never been left alone by that specific frequency, not the mother who I trust completely and I serve and I'm like indeed, but how do you serve the feminine part of creation without trusting and serving the masculine? It's an impossibility, right? There it's so union. And so like to what you said, it's like life will give you opportunity after opportunity to become your truth once you recognize,
Yeah.
once you, and also the power of naming, right? Like here you are, like
Yeah.
luminaries. Okay, you know, I'm gonna put you some.
Spells. They're
Let me give you
spells of
some tunnel
words.
walkthrough.
Oh man, vibration. And this is what I teach. I teach people how to drop into their authentic vibration through the speaking voice, through the singing voice. And as soon as I started teaching that as well, that was like initiation a year ago for me. I was like, oh my God, now I'm going so deep into my vibration. So I'm very careful about what comes out of my mouth because
Mhm.
that's how you manifest. That is how you dream it real. So bring in good things, say good things, say real things,
So
call in the
good.
spells, be really, really, really conscious of your spells. And it's funny, sometimes I think about England and English. I'm like, how did this little country get so powerful? There's like a few million of them. There's like it's like a little dot in the east of the world, the west of the world, and it's because of their magical spelling. There's spells that they put across the world, and I don't believe in evil or anything. It's just like, wow, they found a power, and
Yeah.
they use that magic.
Hmm.
And look at us speaking English right now, and we're not even from that land. We're nowhere near,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
this is just
So,
amazing. The power of spell. I think I'm a linguist. I love language so much. I'm a scanner for language. Whenever I'm speaking to someone, I could read so much of their psyche simply by the way that they use language, and so can you. It just takes a little bit of paying attention.
mm,
I was just in New York, and I tell a little story, and
yeah,
I saw the tomb. It's crazy because the Met has as much like their collection of Egyptian it's
I
bananas.
was
It's
just there
so.
a few months ago. Yeah,
Were you at the? Did you see the exhibit
yeah,
in New York?
yeah. I
It's
was there a few
crazy,
months ago.
but
Yeah,
so they
it's
have
crazy.
this. They found in this tomb this. Talk about spell casting, right? This is what I'm telling it. And I want to just say that I want to tell this story because the power of song, the power of how song and using this sacred chants has rewired me, and I have used
Mm,
it as self-hypnosis in the best way possible, but the Egyptians took it to a next level. So the Egyptians were creating boxes with what they wanted to see, like these figurines. with the scenes of what they were creating. They were found in the tombs of this like high people in society. I don't even know. I got to study
The
better.
pharaohs, yeah.
The pharaohs. And but it was amazing because, like, to me, it's like the power of our art, of our creation, of our songs. They took it to the next level. They said, let's give it a form, right? And so, like, the
Mm.
power of that. And I was telling a friend yesterday about when I lived in New York, I worked with this amazing artist. His name was Mike, and he used to paint this giant, like, Japanese pop art of sculpture, like figures, and they would have their mouths sewn together, and he would just do this amazing, super cool looking sewn mouths. And like years later, he was riding his bike, and he fell on one of the train, like the grids on top of the trains, and he broke his jaw in like 17 places, and they had to wire his jaw, and he was painting this for years. And so the
What?
power of spell casting through our creation, through
Yes.
our words, and I was thinking about that because what I saw the Egyptians do. And so there is words, there is actions, there is vibration. All of it is connected. That is the
Mm.
power of how you're feeling, right? That is the power of the emanation of your energy. And when we come together to do these collective experiences of raising that vibration and finding places to cohere and train ourselves into higher vibration, that is art, that is creatorhood, that is the power of our particle of God being expressed for what we want to see in our reality. Can you tell us a little bit about why, as you're seeing these experiences and you're using them both for integration, for transformation, what do you think that, like, how is that helping us as a culture grow into a better way of being, coming together, which, by the way, our elders did it all the time. So please share.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's such a privilege to have found these modalities of, meditation and breath work and all these presence giving modalities because, it's kind of like the rebellious thing to do these days.
We're going through this, so bear with us. And so my question was around the importance of using this creative containers of coming together for integration and transformation that are helping us raise the vibration as a way to create more of the frequency that we want to experience in our life. Like, how is that
Mm.
important for culture right now?
Yeah, yeah, it's so important because, we've been, like I was saying, we've been such consumers for so long. And what these spaces do that I hold and so many of us are starting to hold and is really celebrating life, in a sober way where we come together and we share our truth, and we're in a sober state. And that truth could be really difficult to share today, but or it could be really bright and sweet, but it's real. It has this lasting feel when you're in sober spaces, being real with people, sharing really beautiful modalities together, and it harmonizes us. And the
Uh-huh.
difference between what these spaces that I now like to create are than where the bars and nightclubs and these sort of more toxic places used to be is that you used to have to start your day again every day with a hangover and just like literally start your life again, restart, restart, restart. And now I feel that I can build energy because because I'm not wasting away. I'm not draining my life force. And when we do that together with so many numbers of people, 1 plus 1 doesn't equal two anymore. It equals this infinite feeling, and it just feels so good to exist with people and be real, especially sharing ugliness, like the ugly parts of you, and then also like Instagram ready stuff. Like
Mhm.
I love it. I teach the haka, which is a New Zealand Māori war dance, and the haka is like, bah, yeah, it's about showing the most ferocious, ugly, fierce energy of you to hopefully have the opponent not even want to come knock on your door, never want to step to you. I'm like, I'm gonna go the other way. This guy's crazy.
Yeah.
And we've been so domesticated in this world for so long, more than we even know, to a point where we've literally caged ourselves in so many ways, and that's why we feel locked, and like so many of us feel there's something more to life, but we're not quite sure what it is or how to get there, and that's why so many people don't change really until something really bad happens, and that trigger point can, look like cancer or divorce or some kind of falling off of a cliff, right?
Yeah.
But it's all here. It's all right here with presence.
Yeah, I think that there's something that the soul is doing in a way. It's like if you're not seeking your transformation, you will unconsciously, like through that supraconscious way, it will try to initiate you through suffering or burnout or addiction or
Yes.
achievement or whatever it is, and hopefully you will find the calling through a spiritual awakening, that are not always gentle, but I think
No.
that what they are
That's the
is like,
serpent. The
yeah.
serpent, the snake will find you. It will find you, and you can't hide from the universe.
Mm-mm.
You can't
Yeah.
hide, And
Mm-mm.
yeah, and there's perfection in that. There's perfection in everything always, but it's, like, super annoying sometimes too, because it's like, I just wanna have a break, you know?
Mm.
It's so hard being in integrity all the time, and, oh my god, like, no, I don't wanna tell this person that.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Like it's so
Be the truth. Be
again,
the truth, you know?
yes, you know, don't be the messenger, be the message. It's that
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's like it's so, to share about these concepts, to, promote them or reshare them on Instagram, whatever it is, it's one thing. To live them is the initiation on a consistent
Mm,
basis, meaning like that was great yesterday and today is that's no longer the truth, and there might be a possibility of getting rejected, abandoned, humiliated if I show all of myself in this, and that is a consistent path, and that is the path of what we call the beauty way, like in through the Mishtika
mm,
tradition. I In this shamanic path, that, and it's a beauty, it's the path of beauty, is that you're walking the path of integrity, or you're walking the middle way through Buddhism. But
mm,
all of these
mm,
traditions is like to walk the middle way is to walk the path of integrity, right? Like one of the most beautiful qualities that a person can have is integrity, because when you are integrated, right? Meaning like you're not leaving
yes.
away the rat, the animal, the part of you that wants to eat and destroy and possess and control. You're also inviting that to be a part of you, and you're also integrated that with like the highest version of you as a divine being and a human. Like all of it is welcome, because all of it is necessary. Like all of it is necessary. I know I
Totally.
went through my years
It's
of
beautiful.
yeah, it's beautiful. Like I had a few years of like a Kali coming through me, and I was like, oh, as a an actor that's hiding behind her smile and being just like, oh my god. And Kali just started showing up through the work and through medicine work and like in my relationships, and no, and the importance of having that sacred rage and that sacred and that anger. That is the
Mm,
boundary making parts of us. Like, we don't have that, then we don't have truth. And like our anger can also be like the place that we are accessing what is truth. And that doesn't mean that you
yes.
go out and take it out on other people and you're like, well, I'm in my Kali. No, it means that you find a way to channel it, or find spaces that can hold that, right? Like that's why I really love what you're doing, because I think it relates to the experiences that I've been putting together, where I'm creating containers to explore our consciousness through play, through movement. And people don't realize that we're doing really deep work, but they are facing some of their shadows and doing what, in therapy,
Mhm.
gestalt therapy, and giving the voices that they think are bad a voice in front of people. And what's so
Yeah.
beautiful about that is that when we allow ourselves to be seen, it's so healing, because our traumas start with other people and they also heal
Mhm.
with other people. That's what our indigenous people knew. Like we don't go to, and do all the whatever it is, ruminating that we call therapy, psychology work. We come together and we chant and we drum and we shake it out and we see ourselves and we just let it go. Get it out
Yeah.
of the body.
Exactly. And we don't label anything. It just is. It's coming out. It's coming out. It's coming out. Come back
Yeah,
to compassion. Come back to love. And this is why I'm so passionate about safe spaces, you know,
yeah.
and what those are and how to achieve a safe space. And for me, it's the taking away of judgment. You know, taking away of judgment of yourself and other people. Of course, those things can just like knock at the door, judgments. It's not we're not, you know, super beings. I mean, we are super beings. What am I saying? But, you know, but it's what we do with those judgments, you know? It's like, oh, you can laugh at them and just be like, oh, God, I will put that to the side. It's not helpful. But when we get into a safe space, we blossom. You know, a flower only blossoms if it feels safe, you know, and when you feel safe, then you can let out all those things that are truly inside of you. When I'm feeling safe, I'm the silliest guy I've ever met in my entire life. Like I am ridiculous. I'm a boy. I'm childish. The person I love the most about me, the me I love the most is that person, and I
Same.
love that. And at the same time, why don't sometimes we let that person out everywhere? Because it
Mhm.
doesn't feel safe,
Yeah.
you know? And because we think we're gonna get humiliated, shamed.
Mhm.
And to be honest with you, shame or the feeling I could be shamed in life as I've grown has been one of the biggest holdbacks for me
Mhm.
is the idea I could be humiliated or I could humiliate myself or I could be shamed for being this. And the amount of things that I've said no to or you know, options I haven't taken because of that just crazy thought. And that comes back to a lot of us not even knowing what a safe space feels like, let
Mhm.
alone creating them, let alone the wider society creating safe space for us because it's been such a competitive, industrialized scene.
Yeah, I really love what you're sharing, and it's so beautiful because I've been on this topic for a few days in my calls. Like the
Uh,
humiliation is the thing that freezes us, and in creating safe spaces, we allow ourselves to include everyone, include everything and everyone, and so that's
mm.
super healing. And it's also about it's almost like it can become a charging station because at the same time there is a possibility that you can also train yourself to be seen and witnessed in what you might consider humiliating when in the reality people don't care, right? And
No.
that nobody cares. And so it's like you're practicing showing yourself in a safe space. And hopefully that will give you more courage to keep showing yourself in places that are not, that you might identify as not safe, because what you're learning in these containers is that your safety is not external, that the
Mm.
safety that you create is inside of yourself, and that it
Yes.
when you start living a life that it's no longer dependent on is it safe here, is it safe there, meaning I'm not creating depending on my
Other
environment, but I
people.
am
Yeah.
other people. I am
That's giving your
creating.
power away.
Right, I am
Yeah.
creating because of my mana, right? I am creating because, like, I
Yes.
cannot, right? Like, it is
I
here,
am the
right?
safe
I
space.
am the safe
Yes.
space, and so when we cultivate the practice of using safe spaces to be seen, to show more courage, to connect, which, by the way, in today's society, we have a sickness of lack of connection, and when we come
I
together
know.
to practice the vulnerable thing of connecting meaningfully and without our masks, it
Yeah, it's
creates
so
like
foreign.
this it
Yeah.
creates this whole this and I see it again and again in people that have never been to experiences like that. And all of a sudden they're making friends and they are experiencing new parts of themselves that they might
Mm.
have thought they're not like that, like that's
Yeah.
too woo woo or whatever it is. It's like
Out there. It's
it's
like all
too
we're doing
out
is being
there.
real.
It's
It's
too
like
out
what
there
we're doing,
because
like we're breathing a little more, like with consciousness, we're just breathing a little
yeah.
deeper. Funny that, isn't that crazy? Might drink a little bit more water, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we may spend a bit more time looking into each other's eyes or giving each other a connection hug. Like it's so natural,
Mhm.
and we've just been so distracted for so long, and
So
that's
distracted.
okay. Like we said at the start of the conversation, it's the contrast. It needed to be whatever it was, and I needed to thank every being that I was before now because I'm here, and
Mhm.
here is beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you to everything that's happened before this moment.
Mhm. Yeah. And to everyone that is still in your judgment or in your perception asleep, right? That there's some that when we come into this path, something I witnessed, and I'm sure I was doing this. I could just remember trying to get all my entire family to drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's
that's a
like
part
in
of it.
your judgment, whoever is not awake or whoever doesn't get it, like that's also just your judgment. And to thank them, to be grateful, because it's only through you experiencing them differently that you can have an experience of
Mm,
you being in a different state. And so it's about
mm,
respecting everyone's journey as well, because you're finding these deep levels of connection. It's not about desiring everybody else to feel connected. Your work will naturally in the right people, but there's no needing ins. And so we're moving from the mentality that was being harvested by a system and this connection, right? The normalization of this connection that culture gives us through pornography and alcohol and all these things system of giving you ways to disconnect to now being in the truth with somebody, and like you didn't have to do anything to have like that. It could be very intimidating, or like to see yourself or to feel
mhm,
love for yourself or to find your voice. You know how many people or to find your dance or to finally dance in public or to move
mm,
or to feel beautiful in your awkward weirdness and to like love it. Like that is something that most people has not been celebrated, or there was no outcome for it. So it was probably for most people something that was never invited for them to continue doing, right? What is the word that I'm looking for? Like it was never
exactly.
this, you know what I'm
Yeah, I mean, it was never taught, you know, it
it was
was never taught. Yeah, like what so many people on their deathbed constantly say they don't regret the things they did. They regret the things they didn't do, you
Mhm,
know, and stepping in and it actually really hurts my heart to think about how many people got to the end of their life and look back and thought, I'm mentally ready now because I can see the portal through to the next place and all that stuff that I was scared of doing. There was nothing to be scared about. There was
mhm,
nothing to be scared about because life transitions again, and when you're really close to that portal, I'm pretty sure, you know, we transition into a pretty incredible other place, next place. But wow, while we're in this human form, like let's play, let's test
mhm,
things, let's push through the shame barrier, the fear barrier, and be our true selves.
mhm,
Whoever that true self is perfect. It's welcome. It's got to be welcome. And even if your true self comes out and like all your friends leave you and like your parents leave you in the beginning, that's okay. Let it all fall away and trust that your people will find your type of crazy.
mhm. I love
They're
that
out
so
there.
much. They're so out there. It's very beautiful because the path of the lone wolf is necessary. And then for me, it was realizing, and I did that for a while, right? But then you realize that the wolf is a pack animal, and then you find all these lone
Yeah.
wolves that are there to be completely out there on their own, finding each other, and
I
it's the
love.
most delightful experience to find each
Yes.
other, you know. And
This
so
is
it's
I
like,
love that you bring up the wolf. I love that you bring up the wolf because that's been an analogy with me and the Luminary Summit team. Here we've been talking about, you know, this what we're actually calling in our avatar we're calling in is all the lone wolves that have
mhm,
been out there. They're entrepreneurs, they're the teachers now, they're the evolutionaries that are changing the world one yoga class at a time or one new app that yeah, at a time or whatever it is. And we're calling them all back to be the pack again,
mhm,
you know, and to be supported because the next level of evolution is a supportive network. It's
mhm,
community. We can't do
100%.
certain things alone. We got to come back to the pack, and you know we've got incredible speakers like Terrence Howard and Zach Bush and Dr. Sarah and all these incredible people that have literally gone online for a long time and talked about their lone journey, their hero's journey of having to go their own way. And
Mhm,
that's how we saw them. That's how we saw them. That's how we saw their particular flavor of light, their
wow,
particular shade of light.
yeah,
And now we're all seeing each other going, okay, okay, I've found myself to a point, and the only next step that is possible is to come together and feel that support again because hey, we all burn out. We all get lost. We all fall into like different kinds of depression. We all fall into different kinds of domestication from doing too much, and women for an example as well, like we're seeing so many women and they're masculine and the men because the men are doing their job of being the masculine because we don't even know what it is to be a man anymore. So it's like, okay, we've gotten to this place and we can connect with each other so quickly with these mobile phones and through the internet and so on, so on. Let's crunch this data that I can help us. I think amplified intelligence can help us crunch the data and get the cream of the crop. Like, what is the best thing to do when you really
Mhm.
put in all the data of human psyche, our history, and go, okay, what really works? What are these cycles? And let's come together, lone wolves, and share our story of our pilgrimage, our adventure that
Mhm.
we just went on, and then build together.
I love that so much. That's actually the name of my offering, The Hero Within Journey, which is a
Wow. Okay.
self-initiation experience. So we're like tapped in. And I really
So
love
much.
what you're getting to because alone there's only so much that we can do with a network, right? It's no longer about it's like how do we create a web of consciousness that can be broad and big and allow the gifts of each
Mm,
other to be expanded simply because we have a greater force. We are backed up
yeah.
intentionally, energetically, with resources, with resource like all of all the types, right? And so I feel like being in rooms with people that are doing amazing, life changing work out there, just to be
Mm,
around people that are doing things that the world needs, and to be we're digesting everything all the time, and whatever we're consuming is becoming a part of us, like to consume the energy fields of
yeah.
people that we want to and admire and want to support in their work. It's so powerful, right? It's like I was with
Mm.
a friend the other day and I was like, "Are you drinking my field?" And she was like, "Yeah, I'm drinking your field. Of course, that's what, it's like, because that's really kind of what is that we are. We
Totally.
around when we come around the right people or the people that like anybody actually we're drinking the fields of other people, right? And
Mm.
so I wanted to just touch towards the
Choose
end of our
wisely.
choose
Choose
wisely
our
'cause
field wisely.
choose your choose
Because
what
we're
field
we're
you're
all
drinking.
all in a constellation. All of
Yeah.
us are family. All of us are neighbors. All of us are in this universe, right? But we need to be a certain distances away from
Mm,
everybody.
yeah.
And, it takes trial and not error, but it takes a trial and trying to understand what distance we should be with each other.
Yeah,
Because,
totally.
if you believe in marriage, for instance, that's the what's one person you're going to choose. And like, you want to be with them all the time. Right.
Totally.
And then there's the person you meet at the workshop yesterday. And it's like, hey, like maybe an acquaintance, and we're doing this kind of work all the time, and it's so important to be in tune with that intuition and have boundaries, right? Because if you're letting things in your immediate environment that don't sit right with you, then hey, you're going to become that. It's not going to
Practice
serve
your
you.
no,
You're going to get
people.
your ass kicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The power of practicing our no. No, like
Yes.
practicing the no as well as practicing you yes. Like when you feel the
Yes.
yes, follow the yes. That's your mana saying like, "Hey, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. Dig in, dig in, dig in."
Yeah.
Right? Like that's aliveness. One of my teachers
Yeah.
speaks about those moments that woo, just give us that life force, those situations, those people, those curiosities as like the
Yeah.
breadcrumb that our soul is leaving for us to remember who we are. What we're here to do. It's so
Remember
powerful.
who we are. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that you say that because that is the name of my next song that I'm putting out
Oh,
in a couple of
I
months
love
is
it.
Remember Who We Are.
Oh, I
I'll
love
send it to
that.
you after this, a little preview.
Yeah. For anybody that's currently feeling like they're in an initiation right now, I want to say that if it feels like something is not working, Just consider the possibility. I invite you to consider that you might be in between two identities, that there might be the old
Mm,
identity, and then there's the new identity that you are becoming. And you might be right now in between both. And things might feel like they're not working when in reality, they might just be new and things are, right? It's almost like give yourself enough time to not run away, to stay with it, to not make stories about what's happening, but to allow yourself
mm,
to feel all the things and give it healthy expression. Go dance, write the song, say the thing, write the letter, do whatever it is to do so that you don't keep it inside. Because like this is,
mm,
by the way, an amazing opportunity to express your creatorhood, right? Like all of this ton of energy that initiation give us can be used like nourishment for our creations. Like
mm.
it really is could be such juice for our creations. What would you say about that? Like
Yeah,
if people are going through an
yeah,
initiation right now, what would be a great way for them to be in it with great dignity and to integrate it, right? Like
yeah. Well, to look at death as not a bad thing.
Mhm.
You know, death and rebirth is happening every season, right? And
Every day.
there, yeah, every day, every moment. And if you're feeling death, or what I mean by death is like things are changing, things are ending, is to acknowledge that and be present to that, and be okay to grieve that
Mhm.
as well. Have ceremony for the things that you let go. When you do that, death becomes the compost for the next forest, for your next iteration, your next cycle of what you are
Mm.
becoming. And again, I think we've been told this philosophy around death to be scared of death. We hide death everywhere, to a point where we don't see blemishes on our fruit in the supermarket. No, it has to be all perfect. Nothing's dead here. Nothing's dead here, to the point where we hide people away in hospitals and all sorts of ways that we hide death.
We don't let
But
women
we,
see their births or we shame them for bleeding
yeah,
every month.
totally, we hide death in all the places, to the point where we're so scared of it because it's unknown, and to the point where when it's happening, we don't even recognize it. And so start to get excited as soon as I got to a point a few years ago when I felt pain or grief or something was dying, I started to get quicker and quicker at getting excited about it because pain reminds me now that healing is starting.
Mhm.
Death reminds me now that birth is birthing.
That's
And it's
beautiful.
so hard to remember in the moment, and I know everybody I know, but get a little faster and faster at reminding yourself that pain is the beginning, death is the beginning of something new.
So beautiful. So, so beautiful. That's the
Mm,
teachings of all the ancient mystery schools. People came
mhm.
together to practice dying while they were alive, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what we were doing
Let's go.
in the ancient. Let's do it again. Let's come together and die a little bit of what's no longer true.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
do
yeah.
it
Let's
together.
celebrate death while we're here.
Yeah, and you
I
said
mean, and,
something.
and, and we birth all the time. That we celebrate one birthday a year. There's so many more
So many
birthdays to
birds.
celebrate. There's so
Yeah.
many births and so many funerals. Let's have
Mhm.
more.
You said something really beautiful, and I want to invite people to really take you up on it. Like, have ceremony for the things that you're grieving. Like, grief is such a beautiful, like, it can be. And sometimes people think about it as like the lack of love or no longer having love or whatever that is. And it can also be an expression of it, you know? And so the beauty about ceremony is that sometimes when we don't know what to do, we can always pray. And we can pray through song, through dance. We can pray through writing. We can like just give yourself enough time to have good closings and enact the closing. And
Mm,
ceremonies are so powerful psychically because that enactment of closing something with intention, it's like a good exhale. A good exhale determines the quality of your inhale, you know?
mhm.
So
Absolutely. The bigger the exhale, the more room for that beautiful inhale of
mhm.
new.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Franco. Where can people find you?
It's been so beautiful to be here with you today. Yeah, find me on Instagram or Franko Heke with a K, FrankoHeke. FrankoHeke.co is my website. I'm on Spotify, my music. I do guided meditations on Insight Timer. And come to Luminary Summit this September the 21st to the 27th in beautiful Croatia. We got
Wow,
to get you there too, Sandra. We got to get you there.
let's see. Let's see if we make it happen. That would be amazing. Thank you, everybody. If you're a leader, a founder, or a creator who knows there's another chapter calling you, send me the word alive and I'll send you some information about the private immersive experiences and mentorship and the work that I offer. And like always, my hope is that this conversation gives you not just more insight, but that it inspires action. If this was meaningful to you in any way, if it stirred something in you, please go ahead and subscribe. Sending you my love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.